We are back with the Hearthstone Masters Tour Top 4. But before we get into that, we have one more spot to determine who is going to the semifinals. As we are welcomed back by the crowd. Welcome everybody to the second decided match. My name is Frode. I'm joined by Derek Brown for his final cast of Korea.
Yeah, just kind of lumping them all in right at the start and letting the pros take over.
The flames that burn twice as bright burns twice as fast, Derek. In this case, we got all of your best casts within a pocket of 2 to 3 hours.
Well, joke's on you because twice of 0 is still 0. Don't you look stupid.
The math still checks out. You're right. So coming up next, we got a Warrior versus the Mage. Now, we did see the Bomb Warrior systematically destroy the Priest deck.
Yep.
That is the one thing about the Priest. Does it have a way to beat the Warriors? And it did look pretty one-sided, but I do want to say, and I'm sure you've covered this, that Warrior versus Priest was actually fairly even in the actual Swiss portion.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
It was almost close to 49%.
Wow. I thought it was a lot more one-sided than that.
Yeah, look. It's 48.48.
Wow, 48.48.
Yeah, 0.48 repeating.
Repeating, of course. Yeah.
Uh,
that is surprising.
That is surprising because every time we've
stream,
seen
it's destruction.
It's just destruction.
Yeah. So anyway, heading into this match.
Is this week 6 of Grandmasters where we're just kind of running out of content? And we're just being really stupid on camera?
Nope.
Why, yes, it is, but it's 6 weeks early because Grandmaster starts this weekend. And depending on how these players perform, you might be looking at a future Grandmaster right here on stage, Darren.
You could indeed. It's looking more and more like Calax's prediction, using his words here, that we would have another baguette in Grandmasters is looking more and more likely to come true.
That's right. We have DeadDraw on the left here, representing the United Kingdom. He is not the baguette.
He is not.
He is of UK descent.
Ceci n'est pas un baguette.
Is that...
You know, like, this, no.
Is that French?
Well, yeah, but it's like, this is not a pipe, you know that piece of
Oh,
artwork?
okay, sorry. I took Spanish.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should have taken French because I think it would have been a lot more applicable for this very moment in that 3-second joke. On the right here, you have Zhym, who was one of the best performers for a long time in Swiss up until the very final round where Liss has managed to eclipse him. And then Zhym, still was able to cruise through with a very powerful record. Zhym did also play the Highlander Mage, which has been the best performing mage deck. Any kind of control or a Cyclone Mage did not perform very well, according to the statistics provided to us by the great Korean team. Also, shout out to some of the people out there in the community that's also providing us stats.
Yes.
Team No Pros has been doing a good job of keeping track of a lot of the special stuff. If you guys are all curious about how the data actually lines up, make sure to check out their specialist report that they publish at the course of different intervals during expansion.
Yeah, very, very good stuff to actually wade through the bias that pro players put on it, because even now you got a lot of players allowing their their ego to get in the way because they want to prove that they brought the best deck when it may not necessarily be the case.
All right, well, no ego required to check out this. Pocket Galaxy is one of the best cards in the current format, as Pocket Galaxy allows you to enable all the discounts onto the minions to become 1 mana. And then you do big combos. I like to keep on Reno the Relicologist too, to ensure that Zhym has a way to come back on the board in case tempo builds up too much.
Very much.
However, last time we saw DeadDraw, who did end up playing a mage in the upper bracket, did end up losing largely because he didn't have enough tempo early on. I think it was actually the series that we casted, Derek.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a close one. I think it was kind of falling behind a little bit in the mid game, which got him. He didn't have quite enough tempo early on, but also not having enough removal later on. He's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, where if he was Bomb Warrior, he could go more aggressive, close out the game early on. And if, I don't know, he had even more removal tools, he could take it into the super late game. But in his primary deck, at least, he does not have quite as many removal tools as may be necessary.
Frightened Flunky gets an opportunity to pick up Frightened Flunky. That is an infinite chain that is a lot more likely than you might think it is, compared to, say, the Stonehill Defender chains. Zhym could set up this Doomsayer or just Icicle and pass. Icicle is perfectly fine, given that you don't get the card draw, but you want to stabilize the early game, and if your opponent does end up playing a 3-mana play on curve, you can use the Doomsayer afterwards.
I think Icicle here is fine. I think I'm torn between Icicle and just King Pass. Because I think setting up Doomsayer going into turn 5 makes the most sense. Get you clear board for Luna's Pocket Galaxy and then follow up with your disgusting turns thereafter. But I think Icicle to get rid of it to make sure a Mummy can't be used with the minions on board to kill off the Doomsayer makes a lot of sense.
Alright, DeadDraw has the opportunity to drop either the Snip Snap for tempo or a Frightened Funky number 2. Given that he also has Armageddon and he has 2 Warden already in hand, makes it seem like DeadDraw is going to save the coin for that moment. So DeadDraw looks like he's going to have a bit of a wrinkle in his development, but he does have a couple of ways that he can go about this turn.
Could just preemptively equip the Super Collider. It's a way to expend his mana, I suppose. But using the coin is, I don't know, pretty far from ideal here, because I imagine the curve he's looking for is the Armageddon into coin Tomb Warden.
Well, that's another thing too. If you anticipate a Pocket Galaxy, if you play the Mummy here, you actually get to push 5 in retaliation to them playing the Pocket Galaxy.
That's a good point.
And when your opponent has kept 1 card in their opening hand, it does lend itself to believe that it's got to be a really crucial card. And what's the 1 card that your opponent wants to keep? What are they usually hard mulliganing for in this matchup?
Pretty much just the Galaxy. If it hasn't come down now, like, would they maybe Zephrys go for it? I don't even know.
Okay, this is somewhat hilarious. Another Frightened Flunky. You know, part of me really does wish that he would drop the Restless Mummy, just because I really like pushing damage and, more importantly, having the opportunity to punish a Pocket Galaxy.
Yeah. We often hear the memes of, 5 mana do nothing, whatever. That was, I think, the first literal 2 mana do nothing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it actually accomplished literally nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I guess if he gets Luna, it's closer to the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But DeadDraw deviating from, as I pointed out, the power curve, if you will, to get the Armageddon down a turn earlier, which makes sense because it may just survive. It won't, but it could have done.
And the Reno Jackson able to shut down this, so even if DeadDraw did have that 1 health Restless Mummy, it would have still died.
Yep. So I guess
now,
we're looking at Flunky Mummy.
Does DeadDraw get that big tempo swing? Frightened Flunky into the Infested Goblin.
Probably the best one here.
I imagine so, yeah.
I guess he has to look at mana expenditure next turn, because we could be looking at a Super Collider plus 2 mana turn, in which case Frostwolf Grunt for the most tempo. But I agree, it's a significantly weaker card in terms of power level than the Infested Goblin.
DeadDraw using the Restless Mummy as removal. Challenging Reno. Zhym still yet to pick up a minion.
Wow, okay.
This is one of the possibilities. It doesn't happen all too consistently, but when you play Pocket Galaxy and you don't have the card draw to back it up, a lot of times your hand can look exactly like this, which is 5 mana, do nothing.
It can take a while to get rolling, but given that he's got the Voodoo Doll and Conjurers on this turn, or just Voodoo Doll ping if he wants to save it, I suppose, he's keeping tempo on his side of the board, which will bridge him the gap through to finding that card draw, or just the 1 mana minions off the top.
Right. It's on a knife's edge. The moment DeadDraw kind of slows down and Zhym picks up a way to draw cards, his Conjurer's Calling is going to pop up. Yeah. And Zhym has Tortolan Pilgrim to look for an Arcane Intellect even. Oh my goodness.
Whoa. Well, that'll smooth out your curve.
I mean, it's only fair. This guy had the Pocket Galaxy on curve, and your opponent had the Dr. Boom on curve.
Yeah, fair enough.
Arcane Intellect, Power of Creation.
Still probably just the Power of Creation. It's so strong.
It is strong, but if it's dealt with, then you can have a pretty mediocre turn if you draw another spell like that Flame Strike, and then you just have Ziliax and Power of Creation. I think Zhym has a very good case to pick Arcane Intellect here. Okay, finds another couple of Renos, which is great for the Super Collider positioning. Although I believe it's settled by the Kaboom.
Yeah. And I think there were, very, very limited options that could have survived it completely. We're talking like damage Stegadron, which would have been able to really play around it. But even outside of that, I think Zhym is reasonable to expect something to survive, or even if not, just Ziliak's Conjurer's Calling is still a strong play.
DeadDraw's the super collider like we're talking about. What else is he considering here?
This would be a good time for a
I guess he does have the buffed Tomb Wardens, which is a really nice rush with 5/8 of stats.
I think, however, given that even though he has that, he's got a bunch of removal in hand, right? He doesn't have many minions, so I like saving that for actual oomph on the board.
I mean, this is exactly the scenario we said about. If you don't pick the Art and Intellect, you draw the Flame Strike.
Yeah.
Ziliak's into Conjurer's Calling is cool, but like, what if
it
you
dies
just get
every time?
What if he just gets a couple of 5/5s, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I like the Conjurer's Calling here. Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I like the Ziliak's here. It just dies to the hero power, right?
Yeah, it does. And actually gives DeadDraw some development.
Yeah. It denies the Tomb Warden, I suppose, or makes it a little bit more awkward to go for the Tomb Warden.
It's a little more awkward, but it still is really good. You still develop 10 tower onto the board, and your opponent can't deal with it very easily. I kind of like the Tomb Warden.
Do you like a swing with the weapons to take out the Divine Shields to leave one a bit healthier? Or do you like just rushing them both in?
I think I want to trade 3 life and a swing with the Super Collider. Because Zhym has played Pocket Galaxy, and then for several turns in a row, it's kind of been playing from the right side of the hand, and also like not utilizing all the mana when you can just play like a big threat, which you want to do. And it feels like if that's the case, and because Zhym held so long to the Pilgrim decision, I feel like I'm making the read that his hand's full of AoE spells or like situational response cards.
Instead, he comes to the slightly slower play, utilizing, I guess, the resources he has available and his mana a little bit better with the pickup of Rotten Apple Bound.
Yeah, it's a completely fair play. It's just that I want to find ways to be aggressive against Mage.
Yeah, I fully see your point. And I guess, yeah, DeadDraw's play didn't leave him too vulnerable to Flame Strike. Like, Flame Strike Ping would have taken out one of them.
Another spell.
Just a complete dud. I wonder if we just see Puzzle Box this turn to try and draw something.
I think so. I think he wants to draw cards as his biggest priority.
Yep, I agree.
Fired. Damage.
Board's clear,
I mean,
at the very least.
It doesn't heal him from 1. That does nothing. That does nothing. Where's that go?
Not much.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Whiff. And a secret. Got him!
That was terrible.
That was 10 mana, clear the board, deal like a damage to both sides, or deal a little bit of damage on both sides.
Yeah.
Play a secret. It's not like he's swinging face anyways. It's not like he's swinging at all.
Yeah.
This seems like a really good development opportunity.
Oh yes, now you go in. I think this is a pretty clear Tomb Warden play on this turn, right?
This would be a good time for a master play.
Yes. Absolutely. It is huge stat development. I'd be slightly okay with the idea of skipping the hero power if you wanted to get like the Omega Assembly and the Town Crier like online.
That's fair. Yeah,
so you can like improve your mana efficiency for the future turns. Like what if you pick up Boom Reaver right off the Omega Assembly?
I think it's not quite worth it, just because like 7 armor, it can make a big difference against Antonidas, right? We saw how useful those armor gains were against Antonidas.
Right. So Zhym, his only minion is Snip Snap.
You can get the the chord snippety snappity, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough here.
Yeah, however much he stacks is vulnerable to that Spellbreaker.
Yeah, and if he goes too wide, then he's vulnerable to the Super Collider. But if he goes really wide, then he's just vulnerable to Warpath, taking them all out. He can't win.
Apologies, I'm looking at Magoho's deck list that has a Spellbreaker. DeadDraw does not have a Spellbreaker.
Oh, right.
But point still stands that he does have that single target removal, and the moment he shuts it down, he does have just kaboom to destroy everything. All right, so if we're going to hero power this turn, we have 8 mana remaining. That gives us a lot of flexibility. We can also Omega Assembly this turn to see what else we get, because I do want to rush down some of these mechs.
I mean, he's got a lot of flexibility here. The only secret I think he's ruled out is Snipe, right, playing the Tomb Wardens last turn. So he needs to be a little bit afraid of something there, maybe a misdirection to mess him up. You know, if it was Snake Trap here, he's very happy. It's just fine, I think.
Should DeadDraw have attack with his Super Collider before bumping that 2-3?
If he wanted to use it, then probably yes, right?
Oh, right. He has the first account for the secret, so he tested for Snipe.
It's a bit of a mess in terms of order altogether, right?
Yes, I think he took unnecessary damage on his 4-3.
Yeah.
I love that fuse thing.
Yeah, this was pretty suboptimal in a couple different categories. Yeah, especially if he's swinging now.
Well, yeah, he can swing in the Eternium Rover to take it out, but
sure.
Yes, yeah. This was definitely not good.
It's okay. He took extra damage, but still has a pretty commanding lead.
And he got the 5 to phase. I think as long as he was able to swing phase with both Tomb Wardens, he can be pretty happy.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Boy.
He was in trouble here, it looked like, for a second.
Well, so here's the thing. Zephyrus, the card he actually wants is just straight up draw, like sprint. But I don't know if that's offered. Yeah, lay on hands.
So I guess by going for Blizzard into Flame Strike, you can then follow up with Zephyrus afterwards, and then go for some extra draw.
Yes.
Makes sense. Because, I mean, man, Zhym is kind of owed a big minion at this point. It's been a little too long.
Yes. I mean, I am starting to feel a little bit bad for the mage, but not really. It's kind of like at the very end, you're like, oh, should the villain actually die off here in this hero movie because of all their efforts?
And then you remember what they did and what they represent.
It's a good pull.
Yeah.
Very good pull.
Is it that good? I think DeadDraw kind of wanted to find the biggest thing he could. Like, Antonidas there, I think, probably would have been the best outcome.
You're right. I was just thinking about from the straight-up like stat lineup of Hecklebot versus the 3-2.
It's a nice small minion, so you're not falling behind on board. But I don't think falling behind on board is DeadDraw's concern.
Yeah, Flame Strike here, going to wipe most things except for the 3-8. Alex Strauss is a good card.
Whoa. Now we're talking.
Do you, okay, hold on. Do you want to Flame Strike this? This seems also like a reasonable opportunity to maybe consider a Frost Nova turn. Set up like a preemptive board with like
Frost Nova, Alex
Straza, and then like
Conjurer's Frostbolt face.
If they brawl away their own board. So you save the Flame Strike.
Yeah, and then you could go like Flame Strike and Zephyrus next turn, trying to connect face.
Yeah, push damage. Yeah. Or just Mass Dispel. When you have a giant wall of taunts on the opposite side,
yeah, I wouldn't have minded that.
There's a huge chance that Zephyrus gives you a way to push past all those taunts, and then DeadDraw, well, basically can't do anything because his board's like almost full.
That's right, and I guess if you're afraid of something like Omega or Devastator, you always have to be afraid of that, right? That's always going to clear your board, whether you go for an even board state or you go for it after you've removed theirs. Especially if he discovers another one.
I mean, and the 9 drops that you get from Frost Nova, a lot of them are dragons at 12 health. You know, you're talking about Ysera and
Nozari
and Malgos.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you get those situations, it's not even like Omega Devastator can answer them consistently. Yeah. It might be able to take out 1. That being said, of course, DeadDraw is the second Omega Devastator, so
yep, it's the pretty clear pick.
Would have been able to deal with most of it.
I guess Wargate was actually worth considering because it's damage, right? And that's a pretty important thing at this point in the game. But I think just being able to kill off everything every single turn is a little bit more valuable.
I love that fuse thing.
DeadDraw picks up Archivist Elysiana, and I'm also starting to maybe consider if DeadDraw should go for Archivist Elysiana just to pick up raw damage. And
that's not a bad idea.
Because when Mage is at 14, we saw in the previous series where like Mage was at like 5 HP and unafraid of a Control Warrior.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, well, you can't do anything
to
me. Your most board from the hand is like a zap from the hero power.
Yeah. And if he could find Wrench Caliber, Corkron, Grom, any weapons.
Like Heroic Strike, Mortal Strike.
There's
like
a lot of stuff in Warrior.
Yeah, Warrior does have 2 identities, which is a defensive armor gain and also like hit the opponent and rush him down. Speaking of rushing them down, wait, what if Zephyrus offers you
Wind Fury?
Wind Fury? Nah, it's not enough. 26, it's only 16.
Still a lot of damage. Wow.
Still a ton of damage.
Ooh.
Well, there's no beast in
There's
the
no
hand.
beast. Okay, it just takes out a minion. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Unless he discovers a beast. If Zephyrus was truly smart, it would give him King Crush there.
Yeah, his IQ is at a paltry 199.
1 point higher and we'd have 2 crushes on the board.
Yeah, 1 point higher, and it might be able to match that of Derek Brown's intellect. 2 points higher, might even get to Sato's level.
Nice try.
I mean, he has the 2 Omega Devastators for this moment. This is kind of the downside of what we were suggesting, right? Like, we said, oh, what if Zhym went for a Frost Nova Alex Straza Conjurer's play? DeadDraw would have been able to answer it.
It's just whether or not he wants to take the damage, right? Which I think the answer is no. I think his health is too valuable to go for a swing with the weapon. In which case, you know, we could just see double Devastator and 1 rushes in. Plenty of ways to be dealing with this.
Yes, there's many slices that which you can cut the mustard. Yes. Brawl. There can only be 1 survivor. Doesn't really matter what it is. It goes down to the Omega Devastator. Zhym has to answer the board. Does have a Mountain Giant that costs 0.
And with Zephyrus being able to count the number of cards in hand, even if it doesn't have access to knowing what they are, should be offering him some kind of card.
Yeah, Leon Hans is the best draw here. Does not get
Wow, okay.
Well, because there's not a clear board. And Tyrion is still
makes
pretty
sense.
good.
Yeah, we've seen how good Tyrion is against the Warriors. DeadDraw lost 2 games to Tyrion earlier.
Splitting Image Tyrion.
Is that better than Research Project, though? Like,
Research Project has to be better than
DeadDraw's already got a basically full hand. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, the average draw from the Research Project is very good.
However, the way your brain is thinking is, I like where it's at.
Thank you. I like my brain too.
That's your brain liking your brain right now. Liking itself.
Yes, I am, as they say, very popular on all those fancy dating sites, a sapiosexual. Fluent in sarcasm, by the way.
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah. I was kind of enjoying my existence
You are
where I didn't
so
know that was a
fortunate.
thing. DeadDraw here, I think, kind of struggling to find a way to accomplish the 3 things he wants to here. Remove his opponent's board, develop his board, and keep health. One of those things has to fall by the wayside if he wants to win this game.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation for DeadDraw because he doesn't want to take too much damage before the inevitable Antonitis.
Is that better than sacking in the 1/1? I guess this gets him a point of damage to face.
Getting the damage and stopping the attack.
I don't hate that. I actually don't hate that. It seems kind of weird at first glance, but that 1 damage to face and the taunt, of course, to distract the weapon, or at least bait out hero power.
Okay, is it time for the Research Project?
I think so, right? You're floating so much mana anyway.
Right, he plays the entire hand and it still uses half his mana crystals. All right, big plays, big opportunities. In 1 moment. I mean,
look at this draw.
That draws 3 cards.
He's going to start fatiguing himself.
That is true. Do you want to fatigue when you're at 6 life and your opponent might be able to flip a hero power that kills you?
You can't win in fatigue though, right? They have the Archivist Elysiana. It's just about applying maximum pressure.
Definitely want some kind of taunt. But maybe the rush is just better. Because keep in mind that there is that Super Collider charge, and DeadDraw will use it to get past the taunts.
Yeah, he's got to just clear the board. He goes with neither. This is the least defensive
He's going for the win!
possible. He's just trying to win the game right now.
What? I love this play.
This is incredibly brave.
Giant, yes. Increase your chance to survive.
Whoa!
And push to damage.
He's praying that there is no Plague of Wrath, but DeadDraw has the answer.
But he also gains life from the card 2 defender, so it's not like it leads to some kind of inevitable victory.
Yeah. So how does DeadDraw go about this? We could see double Warpath, Plague of Wrath leaves a 3-1 in play.
This would be a good time for a master.
Warpath, Plague of Wrath, then Warpath leaves the Tiamat in play. It's a little bit awkward still.
Warpath, Plague of Wrath.
Tiamat lives.
I'm trying to think if you can use the Super Collider swings in between.
Yeah. Warpath, Plague of Wrath.
Dynamatic Plague of Wrath. What do you think about that? It only hits like the same minion.
Literally perfectly to get there.
Okay. What about Super Collider first, attack, and then Plague of Wrath?
He's got to do something. He's just got to do something.
No, this does it, and then if you... Okay.
Whoa!
Got him!
Okay, you can
Plague
attack
of Wrath.
it. Tiamat survives. Tiamat dies. It dies.
And then his own 4/5 survives. His own Omega Devastator stays on the board. That's
He's
big.
keeping the pressure up. This is so important.
Oh, that's lethal off the top. Zhym picks up the Antonitis. That's going to do it. Back and forth game.
My
Zhym
Lord.
hits the Pocket Galaxy at 5s, does not reap the rewards for 7 turns, it feels like. Finally gets the train going. If that was a couple turns later, if once again Antonitis was bottom 3 like we saw in the previous series, the worry about the squeak a win. And Derek, I gotta start asking the questions here, the hard-hitting questions. How on earth did DeadDraw beat all the mages in the Swiss portion, which included players like Ostkaka and actually he did actually play Zhym and lost to him in the Swiss, so that does make more sense.
It does indeed. He must have been doing something right. Maybe he was up against some more of the Cyclone mages that players were going for, which obviously have a lot less threat knocking about in the deck. But as it currently stands, it's looking very, very shaky for DeadDraw on this warrior, especially as he has now lost 3 games in a row today, every single one at the hands of Ashspring. These Tyrians have been insane with no silence effects in the deck. He just does not have an answer to that. No weapon removal either.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the silly thing too, where it was like, we were saying, had he gotten card draw, that was also a really good opportunity from Zephyrus. In essence, if he was able to find any way to fill out his mana curve with powerful minions like Tyrion or draw cards, he was in a good position. So people might look at that game and be like, yeah, you know what, like Mage of course won, they just got the stuff. But it was very close to being not that case. Zhym was struggling for a long time with hand resources because he kept drawing his AoE cards.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though that power creation was useful to a certain extent, it's like, if you draw the cards after the Pocket Galaxy, you would have been in a pretty good spot.
And this is where I start to question some of DeadDraw's plays. Like you were suggesting, playing the Mummy into the Doomsayer, getting more chip damage in to punish Pocket Galaxy. I think that's exactly what he should go for.
All right, well, we're going to have a lot of questions going to game number 2. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more Hearthstone action. Books here as Zhym versus DeadDraw is underway. Only one player can go through to the top 4 as 3 players have already been decided. DeadDraw currently down 0-1. He is the only warrior player that can really defeat the mage here. On this stage, at least. We do have Mago who advanced from the other side of the group, but he is the lone warrior in this group that goes up against the double mage. Will 2 mages advance from this group? It's looking likely. Zhym in a pretty good spot, and honestly, if I'm Zhym, I'm feeling good. Feeling all right.
I think I'd like his spot as well, switching over to the anti-warrior list that pretty much every Reno mage seems to have access to. Khadgar, Barista Lynchen, Harrison Jones, Cairn, and an Astromancer. It's just a whole chunk of value, a whole load of meat in the later stages of the game.
Yeah,
which is exactly what he was missing in that first stage of the game, where he went for the Luna's Pocket Galaxy, missed a whole bunch of turns, and almost lost it.
All right, well, the Cairn Bloodhoof, a sign of things to come, which is powerful, chunky minions hitting the board.
Oh, Lord, he coming.
Hell yes. There wasn't enough W's in your Lord, if you ask me. Zhym has, honestly, like a pretty good hand against Warrior, even regardless of whether or not you have Pocket Galaxy. But DeadDraw, you know, we point out the 3 extra damage on the game where he played the Doomsayer.
Restless Mummy.
The Restless Mummy.
Yeah.
And in the end, like, you saw him prioritizing pushing 1 damage with the Scarab, and it just kind of asked a bunch of questions like, what if? He was able to squeeze out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Squeeze out a little bit more damage. Maybe you're more inclined to try and push damage with the Super Collider and get the lethal. I mean, those are the small differences.
Right, and again, you know, it's easy for us to say because we saw he 100% had the Galaxy. I would say it's probably a read you can make, that he had the Luna's Pocket Galaxy, playing Doomsayer on 4, keeping 2 cards in the mulligan. Pretty fair read to be making. And obviously the game would have played out differently if he didn't have the Mummy to trade in and all that nonsense. But I agree, it shows a difference in philosophy, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with. Ooh. This is a pretty spicy play, though. The Galvanizer, despite being incredibly weak right now, sets up for a 1-2 punch on turns 6 and 7, which is a very, very strong tempo play.
Wow, and there's no ability here for DeadDraw to answer Stargazer Luna.
That's the nightmare.
I mean, this is just looking like a traditional mid-range deck that's punishing the Warrior, like I said.
It's true.
It's not even necessarily like some Pocket Galaxy shenanigans. He can coin out Cairn Bloodhoof.
Pick up of the Town Crier, usually here, is very good. Finding the Restless Mummy 2 out of 3 times to take out the Luna is huge.
Taking out the Luna, nice comfort for DeadDraw. Wondering if he wants to preemptively trade into this Twilight Drake to prevent an easy hero power, but for Zhym, he wasn't planning on doing that anyways, I think. I think he was going to coin out this Cairn every single time. And now the pressure continues to mount.
Look at this, man. The Omega Dillo never survives. 2 more than the turn after. Probably enough of a tempo swing to put DeadDraw back in the lead. But it's a lot of big resources being used. Oh, and I only actually just realized DeadDraw has not switched over to the extra removal version.
No, he's playing the bomb version.
The bomb version.
The 2 Clockwork Goblins, 2 Wrench Calibers, and Blastmaster Boom. He removes a Brawl, a Plague of Wrath, a Super Collider, Shield Block, and Town Crier. So no, he's not trying to outlast him anymore. And I think it's largely influenced by the fact that he's tried to outlast them. And the games have been going long, and he dies every time.
Every single time.
So instead of just being reactive, well, he's doing what he feels like we've been saying for a while, which is like try to get the damage in.
Yeah.
He was off by 6. If he had a single Wrench Caliber, the game would have been decided by that damage. It's it's an oversimplification. But
it would have been an entirely different situation, I agree.
Oh my goodness, an Auctioneer to draw cards.
However, that play in Decoy might pull Zephrys from the hand.
Or Khadgar.
Or Khadgar or Acidic Swampoo's. But, I mean, those are all fantastic cards to just get rid of straight away. Of course, it would have to die, which is not necessarily a given that it will be able to.
DeadDraw going to brawl this. if he brawls, he pulls out his Restless Mummy, he should be able to answer anything that comes out. That actually works out fairly conveniently, especially if the Twilight Drake survives.
Yeah, man, but if if the Khadgar's pulled here by the blatant decoy, the Conjurer's Calling could have actually just gone with the... Oh yeah, right you are. He could have summoned the minion that died off. Well, I guess it doesn't work out like you said with the mummy. It's a pretty interesting interaction.
Vine Shield, Wind Fury, the most proactive threat that you can create.
Oh yes.
With this Jhin. DeadDraw has been saving the Tomb Warden for a little bit of time.
Man, this is a sad situation to throw down these Tomb Wardens in.
Well, I'm kind of thinking about Zephyrus in this position. Zephyrus will offer you most likely a Black Knight, probably some kind of silence,
right. Yeah, maybe Shadow
or Shadow Word Death.
Yeah.
Blessing of Kings on a Wind Fury minion. Hold on. That answers both of them.
Yeah. I think this gets more damage to face immediately as well, and a bigger tempo swing. I think it works out slightly better, but
okay.
I like the way Zephyrus is thinking here.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? You have a Wind Fury minion. Stack that bad boy to the skies.
Let's swole this Jhin up.
Yeah. The DeadDraw does have some answers here.
Yeah, the Dynamatic doesn't quite clear, unfortunately, which is a pretty big deal. It's actually a huge deal.
Oh. Wait, this wasn't going to work almost any other time.
Nope.
Hold on.
Now he takes 12 damage.
Yeah. And Zhym even has the benefit of Khadgar Conjurer's Calling.
Well, Power of Creation here, if it got Reckless Rocketeer, ends the game. That's just lethal. I guess this makes more sense, the bigger board being generated, but DeadDraw looks pretty done.
I mean, there are ways that he can get direct damage at 7 mana. Finds the Inquisitor High Main. Finds the Dragonhawk. DeadDraw just used his Brawl.
He doesn't have a second one in the deck.
You are right. He needs to use his Iliax. Oh my gosh, he's not killing the Khadgar. That's going to be 2 Power of Creation coming out.
Can work twice. Oh my lord. He's getting the heal. He's surviving for the moment, but DeadDraw is just getting tempoed out the game.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Conjurer's Calling. Conjurer's Calling might be really good on your opponent's minions, so you can get past the lifesteal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of
maybe
hard
not this turn.
Kind of hard to turn down the Power of Creation.
Yeah.
Yes,
heal
your
him back up
gets
to
full
full.
life, but
whatever.
still really good.
Whoa.
Oh!
Whoa!
Oh! Big stats. Korean people love big booties. It has a lot of meat on those bones. And, you know, cute stuff. That is one DeadDraw.
By name and nature, unfortunately, he is eliminated from the tournament in top 8. A fantastic performance by DeadDraw overall. Very happy that he could get there. But the man of the hour now is undeniably Zhym, another French player going through to the top 4. They are just on an absolute tear.
Yeah, and specifically, it's the fact that the mage kept lining up against the warrior, which is pretty much what we expected to happen there. The one surprise is that in this group, I expected Rogue to do better than Mage, but then I looked at the deck list, and Uni doesn't have Eviscerates or any of those aggressive tools.
Yep.
So it did seem likely that the 2 mages in top 8 did advance.
And in that they did. The Warrior, unfortunately, not able to repeat the results that he was having off stream. You know, we saw that from his results, DeadDraw was consistently beating mages. I guess we'll have to go back and take a closer look as to what kind of mages those were. Again, it could be the Cyclone mages that some of the players have been knocking about with. But now it looks like the name of the game right at the top. It's a lot of mage.
That's right. 3 French players and a Chinese player, 2 mages, a hunter, and a warrior remain here as Priest and Rogue have bitten the dust. And now we will go into the top 4 with Felkane and Zhym, the 2 players from Group B, and then we have Liz from China and
Magaho.
Magaho
Yeah.
from France as the 2 players from Group A. So that's our top 4, and all of these players guaranteed at least, I believe, $20,000 going into the semifinals match and the finals.
Yeah, very different story to what we had at Vegas, where obviously Dog, who ended up being the champion, a huge, very well-known player in the Hearthstone scene, taking the victory, and even Gallen taking second, already going through to Grandmasters. This is quite a lot of a less well-known field coming through, trying to get their spot in GM.
Yep. A brief recap of all of our dual tournament matches. We had Liss take out Magaho to start the day. Magaho was able to shut down Korean hometown favorite Suni, as the Warrior going up against Priest is a tough matchup, to say the least. And then over in Group B, we had kind of a similar story in that the player that we expected to win, Felkane, to win the group, ended up going through. But Zhym, who lost his initial Mage Mirror, was able to go through the losers bracket and win twice in a row here.
Yeah, very nicely done by Zhym. I think his play style, especially in the second game, was one of the major reasons why he ended up coming through to a victory. His overall philosophy, keeping the Drake and the Ken, I think it showed that you don't have to go for the Luna's Pocket Galaxy, as powerful as we know it is. You can just win in terms of playing your minions on curve, and the Warrior can't fight back.
All right, and then as we take a look at the semifinal bracket, this is the head-to-head that we're going to be looking for. We have 3 matches left. Liss versus Zhym, Felkane versus Magaho, 3 French players and 1 Chinese hunter to face off against all of them, as it'll be a hunter mage versus a mage and a warrior.
It's going to be very, very exciting. If I had to put my money on one of the players, I think I'd put Liss in the lead at the moment. I've loved his play style up against the mage that he's facing first. I think the Reno Hunter or the Brand Dino Master Hunter is going to be a very good spot against that. And he's already beaten Magaho today. He's got what it takes if the Warrior goes through as well. So I'm liking his chances.
I'm going to probably go for Felkane here, because I feel like his play has been the best so far out of all the people. And I do feel like Magaho has probably been the one struggling the most on stage, even though he's done well to get to this point. There's been like errors here and there, which just makes me feel like it's kind of he just needs to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna pick one of the mages here, so I'm going with Felkane in the top 4. But that's gonna be coverage and whatnot provided in the future coming sets. So when we come back, we're gonna start the semifinals. So don't go anywhere. When we return, let's kick off the top 4 here in the Hearthstone Masters Tour in Seoul, South Korea.